I don't know about you, but this week of Hollyoaks is absolutely terrifying because, and I'll say this gently just to remind you, the first minute of YouTube, you can't say anything. If you do, you don't get ads. This week has gotten incredibly uncomfortable as we have had a progression of the Frankie and Dylan storyline. It's shocking, it's disturbing, it's gross, it's sickening. But as I can't talk about it yet, let's talk about Tommy Odenkirk, the therapist, as we've gotten progression to his storyline. Tommy is a therapist that both Jez and Leela have been seeing, and he's slowly been getting incorporated in their lives. He has gradually been, he started off at his little therapist thing, which just looks like a bit of his house, I'll be honest. But he's been slowly getting incorporated into their lives. And then he's been making scenes. He made a little exterminate joke, which Joel got. And then instead of doing what we thought it was going to be, they ended up making him, because he tried to kiss Leela. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe he's just a weird stalker. But no, he is obsessed with Joel, which I think is a very interesting twist, to say the least. I'm interested to see where this goes, because I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why. There's something really fun about the character, and I'm sure he'll end up just being killed off in about 2 episodes, in about like a month. But I don't know. There's something captivating about him because he's a little weirdo who eats food. And that's it. That's it. All right. I know people. That's me. I eat food. He's just really funny to me. He's just so funny to me. It's kind of absurd. And we also got to reveal who his name is. It's David. And David's got a little shrine on the wall of Joel. It's like, what is going on? This is mental. This is mental. I love it. Can we get more of David, please? All right, so reading this article, Hollyoaks recently introduced mysterious new character Tommy Odenkirk to the show, a therapist who's been helping Leah Dexter cope with their marriage problems. But things are not quite as they seem. Tommy has already taken revenge against his client after she rejected his advances by sharing a video of her being sexually assaulted by Abe Fielding with the whole village. In today's episode, and this was released on Monday, Tommy convinced Leah to continue having therapy sessions. He also got her husband Joel on side when they met. But in a huge twist, it was revealed that that he has been lying about his identity. Oh, let me just pause. Actor Brandon Fellows spoke to Inside Soap to unpack this latest bombshell and explain what has come to Tommy as this frightening stalker plot unfolds on screen. Also, I will say, it's gonna be the old classic thing where I'm like, I love this character. They're a stalker. I just remembered they did leak that video of Leela at one of the lowest points of her life, and that is horrific. But I don't know, for some reason this character really charmed me. Like, disclaimer, I find him enthralling. I find him really engaging. But he's obviously a stalker and doing horrific things. Let's just make that fully clear. I'm not condoning the actions. I just am kind of low-key obsessed with him. It just happens, right? Look, don't blame me. Blame somebody else. Tommy, hi, Brandon. Brandon, the actor. Why has Tommy been lying about his identity? Tommy has probably done an online course to become a therapist back in the day, but he has lost his license due to gross misconduct, so he's now practicing when he shouldn't be. The vessel to get close to his target, which is now Joel. But it's also a form of escapism. He's got so many demons in his life that doing this job is quite therapeutic for him, and he genuinely enjoys talking to people. Is he just using Leela as part of his scheme to get closer to Joel? Absolutely. When Tommy makes a move on Leela, that takes the audience in a certain direction that makes him think that his obsession with it is with her, but then they realize that the obsession is with Joel. I think the reason he wants to kiss Leela is he wants to get into the mind of Joel. What? Jesus Christ. That's mental. That's mental. He idolizes him and almost wants to be him. When did this obsession with Joel begin? This will be explored in the flashback episode about the missing year. We venture back in time because of Tommy and this storyline. All will be revealed about why this obsession started, and it's really interesting. I will say, Tommy's obsession with Joel is completely platonic. He doesn't lust for him, he sees him as a brother, and all this will make sense after the missing year episode. Is it revealed that Tommy's living a double... it is revealed that Tommy's living a double life. Tommy's pretending to be someone else. He does his therapy and he shouldn't be doing that, but he also has another job, and he works in a chicken shop on the side. He doesn't have that many friends, he's very lonely, and has this completely different alter ego. It's been so much fun to play two personas at the same time. It's been amazing. So, yeah, there we are. Mate, honestly, I'm obsessed with it. I am obsessed with David. I know he's a stalker. I know he's doing some bad things. I think it's really, really gripping, and I'm really interested to see where this goes. He's just a bit funny. I think that's the problem. He's just a bit funny in the way he's characterized. He's doing horrific things, but he's just kind of funny. And he's got certain characteristics, so it almost feels like parody, where it's like, he's done this really horrific thing. Nom. Okay. And now time to completely change the mode and tone completely. All right. Ooh. So, sorry, it's impressive to go from laughing at Tommy to going into the really dark and depressing Dylan and Frankie stuff. And I guess I guess I'll just do this as the in-between. As the Cleo and Sienna have properly gotten together, they want to go to Bali together, they had a kiss, they had sex, it's moving forward. We are progressing. We are progressing, boys. Let them kiss. Every episode for 5 minutes each. I don't know. That's a joke. That's what I think Twitter wants right now. Sorry, I'm just having a good time. I'm having a great time in this one. Might be annoying, might not. Yeah, so they kiss, the family looks past it, and they don't really want them to be together, and it's like, how dare you even come close? You're gross. No, you're gross. And someone pulled up clips and Mara said, I wish you were my kid. But, you know. I think it's gonna be... I like Cleo and Sienna. I look forward to seeing them. I do hope that they actually get necessary time, because a lot of Sienna's exes don't really get the benefit of surviving. So I do hope that they build into the future with this stuff, with Sienna and Cleo. Excuse me. Because at the end of the day, you want to have it have a full shelf life, and you don't want it to end too quickly. You don't want it to end and be boring. You simply saying you want it to be very interesting, and I hope that is exactly what they do with this. So yeah, love that. Steve and Rex, and this kind of links up. Steve and Rex, they move in together too soon, but still. They move in together and they immediately start fighting, and then we get to grips with understanding why Rex is the way he is, and he kind of explains that, quite alike what we're going to get in with Dylan and Frankie, he was basically sexually exploited in the same way and was put into the system and was just manipulated and abused, and he's never really gotten over it. He's never really fallen in love. And it kind of puts Grace's actions now into full question, because, and obviously Rex is still involved, and I think this is their way of proving that excuse me, sorry. This is their way, fucking hell. This is their way of making Rex a sympathetic character. Despite his actions, this is their way of making him sympathetic as much as they can as someone who's engaging in human trafficking and sexual exploitation. This is as close as you can get to trying to sympathize with the character, and it also makes D.I. Banks the main big bad, and it makes Grace even worse. Is there some way where, quite like how Grace killed Liam Donovan? I think it was Liam Donovan. Yeah, the one that got recast. Is that the one that got recast? Yeah, the one that got recast. The way how she pushed him down a flight of stairs. Is this somehow the way that Grace dies? By, this the way that Grace dies? By her getting pushed down the stairs by Rex as Grace is kind of continuing the cycle of continuing the downward spiral of consistently just a cycle of trauma, a cycle of tragedy, a cycle of suffering. Is Rex gonna be the one to end Grace and end this cycle of tragedy? I don't know, but I also don't know how you redeem Grace in this situation, because ultimately Grace is just, she is persisting forward with this sexual exploitation and willingly grooming these characters, willingly grooming Frankie and Dylan into awful things. And that's what we'll get to. We get an episode where Jacob tries to kiss Frankie, but then he also, like, he's kind of trying to he's basically been given the task of easing Frankie in the most sickening way possible. But Jacob isn't all that bad, and he tries to, you know, they nearly kiss, but she freaks out. And then Grace kind of goes, look, all right, this is all about confidence. Jacob suggests she goes to see Darren. Grace plays on Frankie's fears and tries to get her to isolate more from the family, leading her to be more manipulated, leading her to believe in Grace's trust. And so her and Dylan get invited to this big party, which is a sexploitation party. That sounds like a joke. It's not a joke, but it is a... They are clearly there for one thing. In the most crude way to say, it's like putting a bunch of meat on a table and saying, feast, but pay me first. It's not good. And it starts off as Grace, I believe she gives him some GHB, which is like the notorious drug used for kind of making you... It's used in a lot of crimes. You know, it kind of takes you out of it, but you can still feel everything, but you can't really move. Not a good sign. And then Frankie and Dylan just kind of they try and like dance through the struggle until Cooper, the man who Dylan slept with, reveals that he paid 200 quid to sleep with him. 200 quid? Mate, that feels rogue. I don't know. Maybe I'm overpricing, like, how I don't know why this is a weird angle to say. But, like, it feels like it's worth more than that. Obviously, I'm not gonna think any further about this, but, like, that feels criminally low. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is a bad time to think about this. But look, it's gotta make jokes somewhere. Obviously, it's the whole point, right? The people using these like little birdies, using these like grunts as such, they don't value them at all, so they take it for they'd happily sell them for $5. It's not a good thing. It's a horrific thing to do. And it's kind of crazy, really. And Dylan obviously hears this, realizing, oh shit, Frankie, it's not looking good. It might, we gotta go. and they kind of explore like a downstairs bit. And what do they find? Well, they don't find, they hear a man screaming. And that's Robbie. Robbie is locked up screaming in this basement of this very nice, prim and proper house. And Grace overhears this with D.I. Banks. And also, let's be honest, these will probably, the way that it's shot, there's a bunch of cameras, and this will all be filmed and put on that same, I assume it's like pay-to-view site. Kind of like, what was it, Bluebird? The one that Fergus had, where he was filming everybody without their consent in their bedrooms and putting it all online. It feels like it's the similar sort of thing with this. It's where like Leela and Cleo and Perry's assaults were featured. And Grace talks them round, and Grace sickeningly takes the approach like, well, you know, you're taking back your control, aren't you, Frankie? You know, sex shouldn't be forced. You have all the power, which just categorically is not true. She's not true. But because she's doting on Grace's words, Grace is intentionally misleading her to believe that this is all okay, and it's not. It's not okay. And it's awful. It's horrific. And I know that this is Grace in pursuit of something greater, being the top of like a criminal, being a crime boss. But when they did this in the past, she was always a she is redeemable because she has a good heart and doesn't really engage with the really illicit things that Fraser was doing, for example. But still. But in the end, Grace convinces Frankie that, yeah, you know what? It's how you get to choose who it's with. And not really, but they're still accosting you with that. You get to choose where it is, and it's all about like grooming and hoping they do bigger and better. And it's just... And so Frankie makes the choice to sleep with a random for money. And so does Dylan, seeing Cooper again, and they go off to a room. And it's horrific. It really is. And this whole week was pretty disturbing with the way it went. And it's gross. It's so gross. It's so unbelievably gross and disgusting. But they are doing a good job of it. It's just really hard to watch because you are putting two very popular, very prominent characters and you're putting them in such an uncomfortable position. But full credit to all the actors. They're doing a really good job. And it's been hard to watch, but it has been really, really strong so far. Full credit to Hollyoaks. You are knocking this one out of the park, even if it may be absolutely haunting to watch. So there we are. What did you think about this week's Hollyoaks? Are you enjoying as much as anyone can the Frankie and Dylan storyline? Is Rex suddenly feeling a bit more likable now that we're hearing about his past? Does anybody else really find Tommy fascinating? I don't know, but I honestly, really good week of Hollyoaks. And yeah, that's all from me. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.